back, everybody, to the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel. My guest today has what I consider to be one of the most unique channels on YouTube. I'm really pumped to talk to him. It's if you took comic books and professional wrestling and just mashed them up together, this is the channel you would get. So everybody join me in welcoming to 10 Questions, my boy, the Immortal BiggieShaq.
First of all, Small Town Collectibles, dude, I'm glad that you invited me. I appreciate the little shine I get. I've seen you doing some big time channels on your show, and I'm glad to be here. And I think you summed it up real well, dude. I'm a comic book wrestler type of dude. I collect comic books, and I do the wrestling promos, man.
I love it, man. So, all right. So, question one. Now, there's normally a certain question I ask first, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit today because really the reason I do this is just to kind of get to know people and kind of let people, my viewers get to know their channels and the people behind the channels a little bit better. So, question number one is, how did you come up with the name, the Immortal BiggieShaq? Because I think that's one of the best names ever.
Yeah. First, I started a channel 11 years ago, right? I used to play Tekken, a fighting game, and I just wanted a name that represented my favorite rapper and my favorite basketball player. And so it was BiggieShaq for the longest time. And then when I started seeing everybody putting like for example, John's Comics, Bueller's Comics, Comic Tom, everybody had comic in their name. And I'm already like the Hulk Hogan of the community. Like that's who I emulate as the Hulkster. So I felt like I wanted to be immortal. You know what I mean? Like
I love it.
Yeah, Hulk was immortal, so I wanted to be immortal. So I just added that together, and that's how you get the immortal.
That's how you get the immortal. I love it, man. So Biggie Smalls and Shaquille O'Neal, and then Immortal. I love it. So yep. That's awesome, man. All right. So question two, kind of tell my audience what they could expect if they hop over onto the BiggieShaq YouTube channel. Like, what kind of content are they going to see?
Well, I'm into bangers. I call them bangers. They're big books. They're Grail level books. Comic book collecting. It's kind of like a sport for me. It's like I want good trophies to hang up. So you'll see books like I just got this one recently.
Nice.
You'll see, some nice books on my channel. You'll see some nice promos, wrestling. I do a lot of hauls. I do a lot of collaborations with me and my boy Comic Head 84. I like to do live streaming. I do giveaways. I do KOAs, which is like an AOK backwards. I show the AOK before I send it out. You can see all types of stuff. My channel's huge though. Like I said, it's 11 years ago. So if you could go way back, I probably got the biggest catalog out of anybody I know. I got over 2,000 videos on my channel. So you can get a taste of toys, Transformers, Tekken, video games, all that nonsense. You got all that good stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I fell onto your channel one night and I was like, what is this? And then from there I was hooked. I was like, man, this is great. And I know my boy DJ Links, I see him in your chat from time to time. And so, yeah, if you're not digging on Biggie's channel, you need to go check it out for sure. All right. So question three is kind of the normal starter question, but like what or who got you into comics? Like, was there somebody in your life or what happened that kind of got you into the game?
Well, I would say my second startup as a collector was really the beginning. The first time I was just a kid, I had like 10, 20 books. I don't really consider that like a beginning. So what had happened is that my girlfriend was watching The Walking Dead and it was smoking hot. Everybody loved Walking Dead at that point. I started watching, I started enjoying the show. She started reading the comics online. So she read up past the TV episode we were on. Like she knew what was going to happen. She was like, hey, I would like some of these books. I was like, okay. So I went and looked and she wanted one of those things thicker books. What do you call them? Paperbacks or something?
Or omnibus or whatever they call those things.
Yeah, a little smaller than omnibus. It's like, issue 1 through 5 or 10 or something.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, you're not buying those. You're getting the floppy, because that's what you consider. I'm always been like a collectible guy, so you might get lucky and buy a floppy brand new. Even it could be worth money later, So I was like, we're starting with floppies. So the first actual comic I got was a Image First Walking Dead 1 for her. I was like, look at this, it's a reprint of Walking Dead 1, and I got that current weekly issue from Walking Dead. It was like 140 or something. So that's what got me started, was my girlfriend and Walking Dead.
Cool. When you were a kid, so you said that you didn't really, so really it's kind of different for you then. Like I know, I've said it on here 1,000 times. I had an uncle that was into it and it kind of got me into it. And then I went away from it, I guess really more so when I went to college, than anything. And then got married, had kids, and my kids got to the age where they didn't want to talk to me anymore. So I was looking for something to do. And I went into a comic book store and then it was on. So for you, really, it was just not necessarily had a big collection when you were a kid. It was, you had a girl, she was into The Walking Dead, she wanted some books, and that kind of got you going.
Yeah, I was actually collecting toys for a good 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 or 6. And I was getting like the 80s toys from thrift stores and Goodwills loose. And I was getting a crazy amount. I was spending too much money. So I felt guilty. So I wanted to buy her something too, to kind of justify my collecting habit. So I started buying her comics for a little while. And then I decided one day I'm going to get some books I might like too. So we ventured, she got into Gwenpool, Spider-Gwen, all the other stuff. And I decided to buy a back issue. And I got Hulk Annual 5, and I got Amazing Spider-Man Annual 7, both annuals, which I weren't looking, or that's just what I wanted for some reason. I wanted something old. And that's after I bought that little $10-15 book, and I got that little endorphin rush from, oh, this might be worth something. I was hooked. I was like, okay.
So is that what led, like what got you from, buying The Walking Dead to buying the bangers?
Yeah. The bangers, I was just showing my books kind of like off air on YouTube, and I didn't really know anybody. And I got to give credit to the first channel I watched was Nerdburger. It was a chick channel for my girlfriend, and I went from that to actually catching a live stream with Comic Head 84. And I was like, man, this is really neat. Like, he's broadcasting live, and I could comment and get instant back and forth communication. It's just like, I was like, dude, if he could do this, then I can do this. You know what I mean? So then I kind of got mixed in with people, and I started doing the promos, and the bangers came out, and it started being a thing. Like, I wanted bigger books that were, almost Grail level at that point.
Right. Cool. So question 4 is, where does the wrestling come in? Like, has that been a lifelong passion, or like, where does that come in play?
Well, I always looked at comic book collecting, or any kind of collecting, as like competition. Like, people are competitive and they want to have the biggest book, and they want to say, hey, look at it. Not everybody, but the way I look at it is, I want to be able to at least say, hey, I got something like that in my collection, or I have that too. I'm just kind of competitive. So I would watch the wrestling and all the promos, and I think there's a science to it. It's really smart. Like, for a raw live video, if you're going to try to, I don't know, be a little entertaining or charismatic, I think a wrestling promo is about as intense as you could get. So I just started doing it. My boy 84, once again, he brought up Dusty Rhodes. He brought up the Hard Times Daddy. And I was like, man, that sounded cool. I'm going to try that. And I couldn't do the Dusty Rhodes, but I could do the Hogan. So I would try to do like a wrestling promo from the beginning of my video to the end. For like, I've seen people do it for like 5 minutes or so, but I never seen anybody do it for like 30 minutes, So that's what I was trying to do.
Cool. So can you give me like just a little sample of a wrestling promo, maybe a 10, 15, 20-second sample?
Absolutely, man. So
I love it.
First of all, you got to give me the big screen so I can really soak it in. You know what I'm saying?
Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Hang on. There we go.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy BiggieShaq, dude. I've been hearing this Chump, Tone, and Dustin from Two Brothers running their mouths about being the hunt champion, dude. So you know what I did, man? I went get on my chopper, dude. Went down Santa Monica on them big V8s, the ones that go boom, bomb, bomb, boom, boom, dude. Went to Santa Monica Beach, Muscle Madness, brother. Picked up me a couple life-size whales at the beach, dude. I went fishing for the biggest books of all, man, so I could bring that hunt championship back to NWO, dude. So I went up in there. I took no prisoners. I won that, and all I gotta say, dude, is what you gonna do when the BiggieShaq and the NWO run wild on you? Ah, ah.
I love it. That makes me so happy. Yeah, because wrestling for me, man, I talk about this a lot. But when I was a kid, I live in rural Eastern Kentucky. I know you're up in Ohio, and I live in rural Eastern Kentucky, so we're probably pretty similar as far as geography, that kind of thing. And we had 3 channels, and it was ABC, NBC, CBS, and then we got cable, and we had 7, and one of those was TBS. And at that time, you had the Turner Broadcasting Network, TBS, and they started showing that NWA wrestling. And I was probably, I want to say 8, 9, 10 years old. And when they would do those promos, like the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, I mean, those guys are like poets, dude. I mean, in the way that they talk and the way that they sell, kind of like what you just did there, it is even like, my boys, like I love the Road Warriors, right? So the Legion of Doom. And, Hawk was a great talker. He could run his mouth. And there's something that was as much of the show as the wrestling itself was. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. And another thing I'd like to point out is that I felt like I was doing the cringiest, most awkward thing you could do to expose yourself. That's the way I was looking at it. So I was trying to be like as awkward and cringy or whatever as I could, but I still wanted it to be cool. Like I enjoyed watching my stuff, and I probably watch my channel more than anything. But I wanted to do that because I wanted to make people feel comfortable. Because at the time, people weren't really getting in front of the camera and streaming. It was a lot of just showing books. So I felt like if I could embarrass myself and get crazy, that other people could surely come out. If here's this goofy guy doing Hulk Hogan, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, man. I love it. Like I said, that like your channel for me is because I mean, honestly, comic books and wrestling, like I'm all about that. Like when I first started my channel, I was opening a lot of the pro wrestling crate boxes. I was doing a lot of the unboxings, and I immediately went to pro wrestling crate. And I love it. And like I said, I love the promos, man. I mean, that kind of thing is so cool to me. All right, so let's talk about question 5, and that is like in the beginning, and you touched on this just a little bit, but in the beginning, like, why did you start a YouTube channel? Was it just to have something to do, kind of express yourself a little bit? Like, kind of why did you do it?
Well, I did it because there was this dude on Tekken. I think it was Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection, early PS3, like the first Tekken there was online, and we would fight, and he recorded a match beating me, and I was outraged. I was like, there's no way people are going to just, the only thing they see on YouTube of me is me losing. Like I'm a dog. Like I'm a dragon lord, you know what I mean? Like I rolled this dude. So I recorded, I got him back. I can't remember the dude's name. I think it was it might have been Bruce Leroy or something. But anyways, so I got my revenge and I started recording Tekken. I went as the world's greatest Lei Wulong, which is a character in Tekken, for a long time. But I still I played other video games. I showed toys I collected. And there's actual comic stuff from like 15 years ago, but there was no reason to really collect comics because there was nobody I've seen at that time that far back. I'm sure there were people, but the stuff I saw on YouTube, I'm a big fan of YouTube. I feel like it's a really cool tool, and I feel like you should be able to watch anything you want on YouTube. That's just my opinion. So I would stream all different types of things that I felt like I wanted it to be on YouTube, and it's really neat, you know. Like these, sometimes you see people that start a channel and it's like, I don't know, if it's a whole different vibe now. It's like it's a lot more social. Whenever I was doing it for 7-8 years, there was not, the fighting game was the most interactive I had. So I had people online, I was fighting, and I could talk to them and all that, but not like this, bro. Like we didn't open up like we do on the comic book stuff, for sure.
No, and that is, you're right, because that's one of the things I found, and I didn't realize I would find when I started doing this was the community, man. I mean, like I've made a bunch of friends doing this. I mean, I've talked to people all over the country. I don't know. It's just kind of blown my mind. So that kind of leads me to my next question: is like, what is your favorite part of being a YouTuber? Like, what do you like the best about it? Is it the creativity? Is it the community?
Um, it's absolutely the interaction and the way that the friendships you bond over years. It's amazing. It's even if you don't do videos or have a channel, if you're just in the chat and you're able to liven it up and you have friendships. Because before, like, I didn't nobody I had a few comic book videos, but not a lot. But I was interacting with the chat. I did run into Comic Tom, and like I said, 84, and then I seen a few other channels. But I started talking to people in the chats, and I would see them, you know, every day, every other day, and that's that's fun. That's like the funnest for me, is like knowing people well. And then the comic books are so accessible these days. Like you couldn't take I wasn't trusting of eBay. I wasn't trusting of people were buying books from people on Instagram with no liability, just wild west willy nilly, dude. And I'm just like, man, I do it. I've done it. I've done everything you can think of, but I still just even having eBay, like considered a few years ago, uh, and the knowledge, and you know, like you could spend $50-$100 and get something you would have never thought you could have got 10 years ago. So
Right, sure.
that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun.
You're right. It is, because I spent most of my childhood going around flea markets, digging in barns with my uncle. Now I don't even have to leave my house. I can pop on my computer and find
So
pretty
easy.
much anything I want.
Yeah, it's basically line, unless you're like a golden age collector and you're trying to get like, you know, Marvel Mysteries or early Superman or Batman, you could pretty much just line up your target, and if you got the assets, you can get dang near any book you want. So, you know, that's really fun. And some people get books easier than others. You know, I might find a box full of Star Wars, you might find a box full of Spider-Man. So
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. So question 7 then is, what's your least favorite part? Like, what's the part about it that you just don't like?
about the
Or is there
community?
anything? Yeah, or about YouTube, about being a
Oh, about
YouTuber. Just,
YouTube.
yeah.
Uh I'm not a big fan of like narcissistic, like some people, I hate to say, like I'm just gonna be honest, like they start off like smaller and they get a little notoriety and they kind of hop from ledge to ledge to get a little more successful. And sometimes, I'm not saying everybody's big headed, but uh they get a little bigger and a couple dollars in their pocket, they might start looking at the smaller channels a little differently. Now we don't have a lot of examples of that. Most of the big channels in our community are really nice. Like they take their time. Dude, Jim Mint is a daggone saint, bro. Like he don't even really collect comics, and he'll hop on anybody's channel, bro.
He
And
really will. Like, I couldn't believe when I asked him, I couldn't believe he said yes. Like, I thought, who,
oh, he
I'm just
came
going
on
to
yours
ask.
too. Yeah, he
Yeah,
will,
no.
bro.
Yeah, I
Uh,
just asked him, like I was like, hey, man, I've got this channel and, I'm doing this 10 question series. Would you want to come on? And he was
yeah.
like, like 5 minutes later, he met, yeah, sure, man. When you want me to come, when you want me to come on? I was like, holy
No,
crap.
absolutely. I've had long conversations with him. He's a really nice guy. And then Bueller is a really nice guy. Bueller's always been there for everybody. Drop of a hat. He's really like the go-to bigger channel like I mess with, and but it's weird though, dude. It's like some guys that just get 1,000 subs turn into just real big headed dorks, and it's just like, what is wrong with you, man? You wouldn't like that, like so.
Well, that's what I plan on doing. Just FYI, I'm going to get 1,000 subs, and I'm just going to be like, "What? Who are you people?" No, man. Well, no, it's like I said, man. It is that has been the best part as far as for me. Like I fell into this group of people somehow, and I don't even know how that happened. I tried to look back on it, and I'm like, how did I fall in with this group? And I probably got a group of maybe 10, 15 people that I talk to on the regular that are on in my chats. I DM with them on Instagram. I'm constantly talking to them, and I don't know how that happened, but that is definitely my favorite part. And then you've got some people out there just haters. That somebody, I don't know who it is. I've got a strong hater. Every video I put out, within 3 minutes, somebody hits a thumbs down. I don't know who that is, but I figure if I'm getting that, I've made it.
Yeah, man. It's really weird. It's like it's pretty much everything I've thought I wanted like has happened. Like, I wanted to hang out with my 84 was like the first thing I saw, and that's like my favorite channel, and that's who I hang out with the most, and then I recently ran into this guy, Man Caves. I don't know if you heard about him.
I don't think I have.
Oh my god, dude. This dude, Man Caves, bro, he AOK'd me Golden Age Superman a couple times, and he's AOK'd everybody. I ain't like trying to sound like bragging or nothing, but my thing is like he's a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a straight up doctor. And he's like one of my closest friends. He's super smart. He knows his Golden Age really good. I would have never thought like he'd even still be friends with me and stuff, but we're pretty tight, so it's really weird. It's almost like anything you want, if you just try, you could pretty much get it. It's a weird thing.
It really is. Well, like I tell people this all the time, but it's just weird. I'm a hillbilly from Eastern Kentucky.
Right.
And
Me
one
too,
of my
bro.
yeah, and one of my favorite friends, or one of my best friends, is this cat from Brooklyn, New York.
Right.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
And then I've got a guy up in Rochester, New York. I got a dude in Dallas, Oregon. I've got a cat over in Wisconsin. Now I got my boy Biggie in Ohio. That's what I'm saying. It's just really weird how that kind of happens. And I'm 45 years old. I never dreamed, because I didn't really even watch YouTube, brother, until I started doing this. Like I watched it a little bit. Like if there was a movie promo I wanted to see or an old wrestling video I wanted to watch, right, I would watch it. Until I really got involved in the community, I didn't realize really what it was.
Yeah, well, you probably had like I did when you was growing up. Like we had territories, and WCW and NWA would come up. So like you, I kind of had like the smaller cable box and stuff, but I don't know if those WCW guys stopped in your neighborhood. I would imagine they would.
They would come close, but they weren't like right where I was at. We would get some of the smaller shows, and then guys who were kind of past their prime that were rolling around, kind of still wrestling, would come through. And that was the most what I got to see. Now, I've never actually been to a professional wrestling match. Like
I've never been to a big one. I've been to the WCW ones like 4 times or 5 times.
Yeah, and so one of my bucket list items is actually to go to WrestleMania at least one time. So I just want to go one time. And I don't even know most of the wrestlers today. Like I don't even really watch wrestling today, to be honest with you. I'm more of a stuck in the 80s and 90s kind of cat. But I want to go at least one time. I want to see the spectacle. I want to see what it is.
I think I'm pretty lucky because I live in Portsmouth, Ohio, which was a bigger town like 30 years ago. So we kind of adopted like the good territory wrestling. So I got to see like I seen like Lex Luger and I think Arn Anderson, and they had the Vader twins, and they and then I'd hear stories of Ric Flair and Arn Anderson going through our town, and I never got to see them, but I seen like some of the bigger old school wrestlers, and the stories, and it was so much bigger, larger than life back in the 80s and 90s, bro. Like up to 2002 or 3, it was some big time legends still wrestling, so
yeah. So all right, so question 8 is, do you have like a favorite comic book character, or is it more just like grails that you go after?
I try to dip and dabble in everything. I want to have good Turtle books, Hulk books, everything. I want to be able to represent the whole, except for like girly books. I'm not into that. But my two favorite characters, I go DC and Marvel. First of all, my favorite character ever is Superman. Superman is my favorite. You like
Finally,
Superman?
dude, I love Superman. He is my favorite.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, as soon as I get done recording this, I'm actually recording the show that I do on. Well, I drop it on Mondays. I'm gonna switch it to Tuesdays, but the show that I drop on Tuesdays that I do with Taylor Winder. The topic today is why do people hate Superman? Because it like blew my mind when I got back. I thought everybody loves Superman, and I get back in it, and everybody hates him. I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
I don't know, bro, but Superman's my favorite DC character, but Captain America is my favorite. For Superman though, it's very strange because if they really looked at their favorite character, they would see that Superman is a part of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for my two crazy Superman books, bro.
Well, it's funny though that you said that because Superman is my favorite DC character and Captain America is my favorite Marvel character.
That's crazy. We like the same stuff.
Yeah, no, well, it's because we live so close. I didn't realize where you were, dude. But we're like an hour and a half from each other, if that.
Dude, you remember
like, we're gonna get together.
You remember I was talking about Man Cave, right?
Yeah.
Let me give me the big screen again, please, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. Hang on.
All right. My boy Man Cave sent me a Superman 23.
Oh my God. Look at that.
It's a Superman 23, fam.
Wow.
And then he's a beast, bro. He sent me World's Finest 2.
Jeez. I'm gonna have to introduce myself to Man Cave.
Yeah, you need to keep up, bro. But and that was because I was a so it pays off. If you're a Superman fan long enough, eventually you'll start getting these big mega Superman book, you know what I mean? Because there's not really good Silver Age. There's a couple cool ones. There's Brainiac, there's Parasite, there's the Dark Side books, you know, some miscellaneous stuff. But once you get into like the Golden Age, bro, he's the biggest ever. Like nobody can even mess with him.
No, absolutely. So question 9 then is, do you have a favorite wrestler? Is there a favorite? And when I think of you, when I ask that question, it's not necessarily favorite. Is there a favorite promo? You know, like somebody like the Hulkster. You know, you talk about the Hulk. Like, is that your guy because he could talk?
Oh, absolutely. Hulk Hogan was maybe the most brilliant wrestling mind, in my opinion. I think that the guy, he performed on such a high level that he could get the crowd in the palm of his hands quicker than anybody I've ever seen. Like the guy was a genius. When he was bad, he was the worst. Like you can't even explain some of the stuff that Hogan's done. Like you've seen the Horseman jump people 3 or 4 at a time. Hogan would jump you 30 people at a time. And then he'd pin you with his fingers. It was just silliness. It's like and then he'd spray paint you, and then he'd pee on you. Like it didn't matter. Hogan did whatever he wanted. So Hogan is amazing. I remember this one time, bro. I was watching Hogan and Dennis Rodman versus DDP and Karl Malone. And this is the funniest thing I ever seen Hogan do. He was choking him. He was on the ground on like flat, like choking the shit out of Malone or whatever. And the referee goes, no choke. He said, "What's wrong with the throat, brother? What's wrong with the throat?" I was just like, what the hell?
I love it.
It was so funny, bro.
So let me throw a couple names out at you because I find this interesting. Just these are my favorites. I'm gonna throw them out at you, and I want to know what you think about them. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
You know, he did it better than anybody. Hogan. Okay, this is my thing with Flair. All right, Flair is success. The guy was a champion of champions. But if there was 2 arenas and there was 1 street and they both wrestled in the main event at the same time, I'm going to the Hogan match. I'm just saying. But Flair is some people would say he's the best. A lot of my best friends say he is the best.
I love Flair. Probably now that's the one place we do differ because like I love Hulk Hogan, but as far as the wrestler to me was the Nature Boy. Like I loved him. I thought he was awesome. And then all right, so next one, the Road Warriors, my boys Hawk and Animal. What do you think about the Road Warriors?
Oh, they were the greatest tag team ever in the history of tag teamdom, dude. They both were big enough and bad enough they could be main eventers by themselves. The Hawk was a little more athletic. Animal was a little more strong. It was Hawk had better promos. They kind of did their. I don't know why they fell apart in their singles. I felt like Hawk had a good chance at maybe winning a strap or something, but and then they were just. I think they were built. I think they were so damn good at tag team, and they just couldn't do solo, bro.
I think you're right. I think just whatever reason they were perfect for each other when it came to because you had Mr. Athletic and Hawk, and you had Strength and Animal, and they were just mean. They would run into the ring. They'd get disqualified 30 seconds in because they'd run into the ring and throw everybody out. All right, so got
Hold
two
on.
more here.
I'm sorry. There's only one thing. Is there's also them bad boys from Michigan, bro. Them Steiner brothers are damn near just as good.
The Steiner brothers were great. Like I hear a lot of people talk about, was it Demolition? And I never thought Demolition was as good as the Road Warriors.
Them.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the Steiner brothers were good.
Yeah.
They were tough. I mean, they really were. Because you kind of had that, college wrestler type, and then Mr. The technical guy. Then you had the super strong guy. I thought they were cool.
LOD would win, but it's fun watching the Steiners. The Steiners are freaks, bro. Especially Scott with all them suplexes. He had so many different ones back in the day. But yeah, I feel you, bro. I'd go LOD too. I'm good.
All right, so next one, and as far as like a group of people, like the Four Horsemen, for me, the Four Horsemen were like the first like group, almost kind of like the precursor to the NWO and some other things that happened, as wrestling went on. But the Four Horsemen to me were the best. I love the original Four Horsemen. What about you?
I think I was a little too young for the Horsemen. I think I was only 5 whenever like Hogan and Warrior wrestled, I think.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah, so that's probably a little that's before your time. They were awesome.
From what I seen, I watched like the documentary of and I've watched like all the big Dusty Rhodes was so undervalued, and I feel like if it wasn't for Dusty, the Horsemen probably wouldn't have been as successful as they were. Dusty was super talented. Of course, Flair and Arn was amazing. Tully Blanchard, all those guys were fresh as hell. But I think Dusty really did. And my favorite wrestler back then, bro, was Jimmy Valiant.
Yeah, dude, Jimmy Valiant was awesome.
Jimmy was the man, dude. Jimmy was hilarious. See, I'm one of those clown guys. I like the charismatic. Like I think Hogan stole a lot of Jimmy Valiant stuff. I would put the Four Horsemen in the top, probably right after NWO. NWO Black and White, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. Even if that was from the 70s or 60s, I would still pick them.
Yeah, because that was as far as like that just kind of took over wrestling when that started. I mean, it kind of took over because you end up having the Wolf Pack. I mean, like it went in a bunch of different directions. Like for me,
huge. Yeah.
Well, like for me, the WWF, like the guys that I liked were Hulk, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. You had the Junkyard Dog. That was more kind of my era, when I was coming up, and then I went away from it a little bit. And I remember watching Goldberg a bit and, The Rock, some Stone Cold, the ones that everybody knows, kind of when I was in the college, age and didn't necessarily watch it all the time, but still watched it from time to time.
No, so, I get that.
Go ahead.
I understand. I was kind of around there too, a little later, like, Jake the Snake, Rick Rude, all them guys. That was the primo stuff. But maybe it was just because I didn't have I did watch USA more than TNT. TNT was kind of like a late night wrestling show for me for some reason. We didn't really get to see that much. I would see like the Saturday morning main event WWF stuff more.
All right, so last question, brother, and question 10: what does BiggieShaq watch? Like, and what I'm looking for here is like maybe some channels that my viewers or even me don't necessarily know about, that I should be watching and that maybe I need to be hitting up to interview. Like Man Cave's next on my list because of these Golden Age Superman I've seen. So he's going to be my best friend. So
yeah, good luck with that. You're gonna have to pry him out of my hands, but you can interview him.
I'm going to interview him. I'm taking him, Biggie.
Yeah, all right, we'll see.
Well, we can share, Biggie. We can share.
Yeah. No, he'll probably he's got a ton of friends. He'll love you.
Cool, man.
What do I watch? I definitely watch my boy NYC, New York, and Kavi. I call him the Don Dada. I give a lot of these guys nicknames. My boy Tony Sanders on the hunt. We had a great hunt last night. Two Bros is fun. Hudat Comics. My boy Comic Head 84 is my favorite channel. D-Runk is my second or third. Hialeah. There's a bunch of us, bro. There's just a lot of fun. My boy 90, he's retired, but he's fun. Perry Comics. I watch everybody, bro. I'm a bit of a entrepreneur and knowing I like to watch the new channels. I like my boy DJ I forget his name because I've said so many names.
DJ Links,
Slotted Up, all these guys, man, like the newer stuff, and I'm into it all.
Cool.
My favorite's 84 though. 84.
84.
Yeah.
All right, we might have to check him out then. Maybe we can get him on 10 questions after I talk to Man Cave. So, no. All right, man. BiggieShaq, man, I swear I've had the best time talking to you, and I really appreciate you coming on. I'll leave all Biggie's contacts or where you can find him in the description below. If you're looking for a fun, just kind of unique channel to go watch, and really the key word there being fun, go check Biggie's channel out. I think you'll dig it. Like I said, I fell into it, brother. I just fell onto it one day and I started watching. I was like, what is this? Who is this cat? And so I started watching. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I figured out that you're not too far from me. We're definitely chewing some of the same dirt.
Yep, definitely. I'm from the most southern part, so you're where, like in the middle or the southern part of?
Oh no, I'm in the east. I'm on the border of West Virginia. Like we only live like an hour apart.
Oh, so you probably okay. We'll talk about it offline.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we're close. So, but definitely go check Biggie's channel out. Of course, in the description will be all my contact stuff. And I'll put a playlist here as an end card so that you can go and check out all the other 10 questions interviews that I do. But guys, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me and Biggie for a little while. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I have. Biggie, thanks again, brother. And guys, as we always end these bad boys, until next time.
Later, guys.